Hello everybody, and welcome to the face reading of the people in the news. For those of you who are with me today for the first time, if you get interested in the subject of face reading, you can watch my YouTube Introduction to Face Reading. You can also buy my book, Face Reading Secrets for Successful Relationships. It is available on my website, drpeterreznik.com. Today I will be doing face reading of Wim Hof. A couple of months ago, I started posting here on my YouTube some of the shows that I have on the Progressive Radio Network. And I posted my interview with Wim Hof. No, when I was interviewing him, he was not sitting on the ice. For some reason, my son, Aaron, who is running my site now, posted this picture. In fact, the picture of me is also at least 10 years old, I think even older. I have no idea why he chose this one. Anyway, the interview was about this extraordinary man and how he teaches ordinary people to do extraordinary things. But my interest in him is not because he holds 26 world records or because he ran a marathon in the Arctic Circle barefoot in his shorts, but because his breathing method and gradual cold exposure training hold a lot of promises to our well-being, to our whole world community, as it has been proven by two major university studies. But this was all about the interview. Today, we're doing something that we have been doing on this channel for the last 5 years. We'll look at this man as face readers. We know how he lives his life. What we want to see is if his physical characteristics, his face, his profile, his facial features, and his body type are reflective of those qualities that we see him exhibiting in his life. I must say that it was quite difficult to find photographs to work with. As you know, for a good reading, we need a clear face and profile, like this, when we did this couple, or this one, when we read The Temperament and Personality of Ben Carson. But this guy, though there were literally thousands of pictures of him on the internet, I could not find one clear profile, or face for that matter, where he does not have a beard or makes faces or smiling, hugging people. I even went on YouTube and took a snapshot of Wim being interviewed live on TED 10 years ago. This is an interesting shot, though still not a clear face. So in this reading, I will have to do a lot of guessing, meaning I will have to mentally rotate his head in my mind and guess how he looks without a beard, how he would look if he would look straight into the camera. You're probably used to me doing first the face reading, and which stands, of course, we know, for our personality, the qualities that we acquire as a result of our education, parenting, and self-development. And then usually I do the profile, which is the embodiment of the temperament, the characteristics we're born with. But today I want to do the reverse. Let us see what Wim Hof came into this world with before we do the face. We'll go back to the face/personality later. Here he is. So this is the best shot of the profile I could get. That's also from his appearance on TED. And as you can see, it's not a clear profile. He is looking somewhat down. But let's rotate his head and see how his profile would look like if we were looking at him as he's looking straight with his profile. This is better, right? How does it look to you? Guess what his temperament is before I show you. The jawbone protrudes forward. The chin protrudes forward, and the jawbone goes straight, almost under 90 degrees. the forehead tilt back. Of course, it's a sanguine temperament. And what do we know about people who are sanguine? They're very physical, express themselves not by contemplating or writing, but through action. They're muscle coordinated, love sports and competition. They're territorial. Remember, their animal prototype is a lion who always guards his space, his territory. They're generous and courageous. If they love you, they will give their life for you. If you cross them, they're ready to take your head off. They usually have short attention span, a short temper. They get easily bored, so they need constantly to invent new activities. They're great communicators. Remember Ronald Reagan, typical sanguine. He was called a great communicator. They know how to inspire people and prefer to lead them through physical experience rather than through ideas and discussion. The puzzling thing for me is that usually people with sanguine temperament and body type are what we call short distance runners. The puzzling thing for me, till we see other pictures, that is, they run out of steam quickly and need breaks. But we know that Wim Hof runs marathons. Perhaps we can find an answer to this puzzling thing a little later as we look close at his profile. On this picture, his forehead is covered by hair. But we look at this picture, you can see, yes, his forehead is tilted, but it is also somewhat rounded. Can you see it? And that makes just his forehead bilious. Remember, when we look at the profile and try to determine the temperament, we're looking at the forehead, the chin, and the corner of the jaw. And the person with the bilious forehead is very willful. As we know by now, and through his body, reading, looking at his body, though it is created not as enduring, because it's a body, sanguine body type, he willed himself into endurance through his mind. My guess is that when he was a child, he was not that long-lasting and powerful. He acted more in spurts. By the way, Wim Hof has a twin brother. Unfortunately, I was not able to acquire Andrew's photo, but I know that he does not do all the challenging stuff that Wim does. My guess is his appearance is very different, and he does not have nearly the same energy. And now, once we know that Wim's natural tendencies are, we can talk about his face/personality. What's your take on it? It's not easy, I know, because of the beard, to see exactly what his temperament, face is. My take is that if you, in your mind, try to rotate his face and make him look straight into your eyes, you will see that he is a Saturn. Looks like one of these guys, Saturn personality. They have more perseverance in what they do than any personality. They're always organized and meticulous and always know what they have done so far and what is there to accomplish. They take time before they act, so sometimes they seem indecisive. We're talking about all Saturn personalities. Now I'm just giving you a general picture, not necessarily Wim Hof's, but still that's his persona, that's how he appears to people. Those who have seen Wim Hof on different videos and watched him doing all these crazy things and inspiring others may think this guy does not take time to think. He is all action. Well, let's remember that his temperament is sanguine, and he is indeed all action, action, action. But precisely because his spontaneity, his personality is Saturn, his actions are not for the sake of actions, and conquering and sharing as the usual sanguine would be. But whatever he does is deliberate action, and action of a person who thought everything through. It's not crazy action, brave, courageous action of a sanguine. It's action that he deliberated on and made a concrete, willful decision to take. The Saturn are deep thinkers with philosophical inclination. They're positive pessimists. They see the downside of everything, but they need obstacles to overcome. So even though they see the negative, that negativity that they see around fuels their will to overcome. So in a way, they create their own challenges so that they would have meaning to move on. So when you see these crazy shows, it's not for the sake of impressing people as your typical sanguine or nervous temperament would do, but for the sake of well-planned ideas of creating a change in the minds of people and expanding their boundaries about what's possible. The Saturn tend to be pessimistic and cynical, which in whim conflicts with the sanguine optimistic attitude, meaning he may go between the two attitudes in a blink of an eye. That's my take on it. Sadness in Saturn changes into anger, which again fuels his will to overcome. The Saturn are the most sexual of all personality types. They often confuse sex for love, though most of the time people with Saturn personality are looking for intimacy. But look at this picture. I think whim is older on this picture than the previous one. Doesn't it look to you that there is something there beyond Saturn? Can you think of what it is? To me, it looks like a Venus, like these guys. Though the picture of whim is not taken under the right angle for our purposes. So I am not 100% certain. But remember what I told you in the past. If someone looks like a little bit like one personality and a little bit like another personality, more than likely, if that's the feeling, and I trust my feeling, my intuition, more than likely they possess personalities or qualities of both. Will add to Wim's personality yet another aspect, and that is one of a Venus, at least in this stage of his life. Venus is the Roman adaptation of the Greek goddess Aphrodite, remember? So indeed, of all 12 personalities, the Venus are the most concerned with love and about loving. They want to know that they are loved, and they want to hear that they are loved. They love to be flattered and adored. The Venus love the lover, the child, all the children in the world, and the whole humanity, and all the creatures in the world. They're often involved in social causes, doesn't it sound like whim? And bringing fighting parties to negotiating table. The Venus are very lively and spunky and resourceful. They have a lot of practical intelligence and know how to organize things to make everyone comfortable. I think Wim's job is to make everyone uncomfortable, but uncomfortable so they will become comfortable with themselves. When emotionally distressed, they become, people with Venus personality become chatterboxes. It's their way to release tension. But there is something else I noticed. Here is another Venus, but without a beard, enjoying herself in a tub of water filled with ice cubes. This is Laura Hoff. By the way, she was instrumental in arranging my interview with her father. Thank you, Laura. You see why I'm assessing Wim as a Venus? Look at these faces. They all look alike. Children often think they are probably not like their parents. But notice how similar Laura and Wim are. Their shape of the face, the forehead, the eyebrows, the eye color, not the lips or nose though. Here the eyes, the eye colors. Why do I bring Laura into this reading? Well, because she's a beautiful woman. Just kidding. Not because of this. Because I want to point out yet another feature about Wim. Remember, I did a reading of the richest people in the world, maybe a year ago, these guys. And morphologically, I did not find any common feature among them except one, this one. All of them had lines after the mouth closes. Here's a close-up. We call these lines executive power. Executive power means that not only that they're active, not only they have good ideas, but also they're able to implement the ideas in an organized manner and make things happen to their benefit. And look at this. Wim Hof does not have this line. So though he has a tremendous will, the Saturn's ability to create and overcome obstacles, he does not have in his personality what needs to be there to capitalize on his accomplishments, to make them into a business. Yet, I heard from one of my students, my student attended one of the Wim Hof's workshops in San Jose, and there were 3,000 people there. My take on it is that it's not Wim Hof who organized it, but one of his children who is running the whole show, probably, maybe even Laura. I tell you why Laura. Look at her mouth. She does have the executive power. It's funny, I have the same issue and the same solution. Look, here I am, and here is my son, Aaron. As you can see, I do not have the lines, and he does. And though I think I am a decent clinician, I am not that great at organizing the business part of my practice. But a month ago, Aaron came from college. He's graduating from college this year, looked at my website and suggested to do a makeover of it. And he totally changed the site. He started a whole business of selling my programs, my services, connected me with different sites, all in 1 month. He did for my business more than I did in 10 years, probably. Now, does it mean that if you do not have those lines along the mouth, you're screwed? You cannot succeed? Of course not. It only means that if you know this about yourself, you must make a greater effort to persevere, or even better, find a partner or an employee who takes your ideas and can implement them. Back to Wim Hof. Let's summarize what we learned about this extraordinary man. Look at this picture. I love this picture. So typical of a sanguine, as we can clearly see his profile here, and the skin color also, reddish skin color of sanguine. He's courageous and action-oriented, spontaneous, and a risk-taker. He is generous and great at inspiring people, a wonderful communicator. He does not have either time or patience for nonsense. You either go with him or stay aside. He will not baby you, take care of you crying. Maybe he was a good father when his children were little, but now he does not have patience. As a sanguine, he has to move on. As a bilious, remember, he's roundish forehead, curved. So he is thoughtful and has a tremendous will, tames his reckless sanguine impulse, and with the bilious planning and deliberation, he does everything in an organized manner. He is not crazy. He is deliberate and willful. Remember, everything he does and even says is planned. Because remember, the intellect is a bilious, not a sanguine. And his Saturn personality propels him to create new challenges, to stay interested in new ideas, to satisfy his need for action, combined with the nose of the conqueror and the bluish, hazelish eyes of detachment, which allow him not to get discouraged when things do not go his way, and the sanguine need to be a showman, it makes him a formidable power of moving millions of his followers to greater awareness that the only limitation we have is the limitation that we set for ourselves. Or, as Richard Bach said 50 years ago in his book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, break the chains of your mind and you will break the chains of your body. Wim Hof demonstrates the truth of this to all of us. And he's, I believe, leading all human beings to discovering that we are limitless. It's not only he does extraordinary things, he teaches people, ordinary people, to do the same. And that is all about Wim Hof. If you got interested in who this man is and what he does, if you didn't know about him before, 2 weeks ago I posted here on my YouTube channel my interview with Wim Hof. So you can watch it. And that is all for today. That is all for Wim Hof. And I want to thank you for this journey with me. Peace to all who want to live in peace.